Hi. Nice that you all are here present. In this session, we are going to talk about project progress and analyzing project progress and calculating the estimate at completion. So in a way, we are going to look at earned value calculation, which is rather well-known practice in managing projects. And actually, we learn here how to report the project progress, how to analyze it, and also with this earned value calculation, we are going to learn how to integrate time, cost, and scope, which we all need to evaluate the status of the project. So let's start with a simple picture here. Let's assume that we have a project which is a 10 months project, and we are in the middle of it. We have completed already the project for 5 months. And then we have project cost here. For example, if we have a total budget of $1,000, and we assume that the cumulative cost curve is a direct line here. And if the actual costs for this point of time that we are now living is $350. So what can we say about the status of this project here? Any guesses or any answers? So those who have not said anything are right, because actually we cannot say anything about the progress of this project. Namely, it can be that we already have completed the whole project with 350, and then that has been a splendid project, maybe. Or then it can be that we have not even started the work yet or completed any products or sub-products so far. So we have just spent time, cost during these 5 months. So this is a kind of a total failure even, it could be. Or depending on what the actual status of the work and accomplishments so far are, it can be that we have performed well with lower costs, or we have performed not so well with higher costs. So actually what we need here is the information about how much we have completed in terms of our project scope. So what is the percent complete actually? Now I show some variables of the earned value calculation. In this picture, you can see that we have the total budget at completion. We have the budgeted cost of work scheduled, which is actually this curve here. The budget in the kind of a time axis, the scheduled budget. Then we have the actual cost of work performed, which is this 350. Budgeted cost of work performed, which actually we don't have here, which is the actual kind of a earned value or percent complete of the scope that we have done so far. So we need that information. Then we have estimate at completion, which we don't have in this picture, but it's an important parameter so that we can estimate whether we are going over or under budget and how much time that is going to take. Then there are some other variables here which we are going to learn during this session when I'm showing you few next pictures. So there is schedule variance, cost variance, schedule performance index, cost performance index, and estimate to completion. But you will learn to know visually also about what these actual variables are about. So let's take this situation from this picture. We have the budgeted cost of $1,000 and we have this actual cost. And because we are halfway to the project, the actual budgeted cost of work scheduled is, as we show in this picture, so it is 500 when we have this kind of a linear curve. And the actual cost is 350. Okay, now we have a kind of a cost deviation, but what we were missing is the actual percent complete. And if we have a very simple project of producing 1,200 drawings, and we have produced so far 300 of them, then we have a percent complete 25%. 25% out of this budget at completion is 250. And that is actually the earned value, budgeted cost of work performed. So the kind of a value that we have really earned due to doing really some productive outputs. So we have earned worth 250. Okay. Then this picture shows now the earned value as a cumulative curve. It's in green. Here we have this 250. It is our earned value so far at this point of time. With these figures, we can calculate different kinds of variances. Schedule variance is 250, and cost variance is 100, so we are lagging behind. We have used more costs than we should for having this earned value 250 produced. And we also have spent more time than planned or budgeted. So we are lagging behind in schedule. That is the schedule variance. But interesting thing that you should note here is that we express the schedule variance in dollars, so in monetary values. Okay, now we can calculate the cost performance index, schedule performance index. The equations are there. And why we are calculating all this? It's because we want to estimate our costs at completion, and we are also estimating when we are going to complete the project. So there are two possible most used ways of producing the estimates. One, which is shown in this picture, is based on the assumption that we are going to do the rest of the project as planned. So as you can see in this picture, the cost variance of $100 is remaining until the end of the project because we are doing the project, the rest of the project as planned. So let's say the slow start or the, let's say, in a way, bad start was only the start that was in the first half of the project, but then we kind of do still the rest, the second half in as planned. Okay, but in this picture here, we also assume that we kind of accelerate the schedule a bit and so on, and we are capable of not slipping from the schedule so much. Well, I think that we already had slipped 2.5 months during this first half of the schedule, but in this particular picture that we have now up there, we are showing an estimate where we are going to catch up the schedule a bit. Maybe there would be some acceleration cost and so on, but we have not taken them into account in this picture, and we estimate that we are going to end up to 1,100 as an estimate estimate at completion, estimate cost at completion, and there is only a slight schedule slippage. This another picture shows another estimate that is based on another assumption, and it is based on an assumption that our schedule performance index and cost performance index continues being the same throughout the whole project. So now we are subdividing the budget at completion of with the cost performance index 0.7, and we get an estimated cost of 1,430, which actually we are going to achieve in double when we double the project's duration, because the schedule performance index was 0.5. And from this picture, you also can see how the green line, how the earned value is accumulating until 1,000. Actually, this is the actual value that we are going to achieve, this 1,000, but we are going to use 1,430 cost for achieving this value of 1,000. So, calculating the value, the earned value, we are sticking to the original budget, and that is actually the value against which we are really earning the results of the project. Well, earned value calculation always comes to the challenge of evaluating the percent complete. So how can we do that if we have a much more complicated project than just producing these 1,200 drawings? So if we have budgeted at the lower level of work breakdown structure, and we really have these shorter activities down there with certain budgets, we can have a simple rule of approximating the percent complete of those activities. For example, if someone says that an activity has not started yet, then it's 0% complete, started 25%, almost complete 50%, complete 75%, and when the next activity's responsible person says that he or she has received actually the results from this activity, then we can consider this activity as completed. And from bottom up, from those small activities, by having this kind of a robust way of calculating the earned value or percent complete, we can then sum up at the total project level, and we can have a quite fairly, let's say, good estimate of the whole project's percent complete. So I sum up with this kind of a picture. We have objective and we have plans, time, cost, and scope. Then we have also an analysis of the situation, and what is important that we have the analysis of the project situation at the end of the project. So it is a kind of an estimate. And we compare the objective or plan with this estimate, current estimate, and we recognize deviations. This is important that we always, in a project, we have deviation reports. And when we recognize these deviations, we can take corrective actions. And it's important that we take corrective actions beforehand in order to have an impact of future outcomes. And this also connects to the future orientation in projects, that we produce continuously estimates at the completion of the project and see how that is compared to the budget, and then we are ready to take corrective actions early on. Okay, that was about analyzing project progress and also how to calculate earned value. Any questions that you would like to pose? Okay, I'm happy that you were with me here, and we are going to see in the next session. Thank you.